Welcome, everyone, to another Universal Citizens Media live show. Today, I'm once again joined by David Ellis. Welcome to the show, David.
Hi, Andrew. How are you doing today?
I am doing great today. It has been one of those ongoing, challenging weeks, from clients to sessions to the nature of business to hurricanes going through Barbados. But it is the day in the life of someone that's running multiple businesses, multiple companies worldwide. And David, you have been running companies for a really long time. You've been in the esoteric side. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about mixing business and esoteric. And so many people have been having challenges. We've given some meditations that have helped people. Now we want to open up the field here as people have been getting to know how David works, how I work, how we put together these concepts. So David, let's talk in general about how people who run businesses can't separate business from home life, and oftentimes create these serious internal issues. Like we've had
Andrew?
Callers. You there, David?
Robert, are you there?
Okay. I'm here, David. I can hear Andrew fine.
Okay. So the question was how people can't separate business from home life. Here's the major problem that most business owners make. They look at the business as sort of a separate entity from themselves. And so they run the business in such a way that they would not actually run themselves. So let's look at the problems that you would have. If you're having a bad day at home, you come to your business, your mind is clouded, you're going to make wrong decisions. If your emotions are in turmoil, you're going to make the wrong decisions. If you have anxiety, paranoia, a lot of fear, then you will not be successful in business. It's just a staple rule. Then we get into the concept of a family business. Family businesses are generally not run with a lot of business sense. And I say that as a general statement. A lot of the time, businesses that involve family members, whenever there's a squabble, the business suffers. Okay? You need to divorce what's happening at home from what's happening in your business. Generally speaking, however, that is extremely difficult to do. People take their home life, whatever's happening at home, and they bring it into their business. Another thing that you should probably never do is hire family members to senior executive positions. And that is going to sound a little bit wrong, but I will explain. What you're trying to do is run a business. If your family member does not have any senior executive experience, then they should not be in that position. So if it's like your son and your son did arts and craft in school, don't make him the CEO of your business. You just don't do that because he needs a little bit of conditioning and he needs to learn the ropes. So you start him from the bottom and you let him learn the business in and out all the way up. Did I lose you guys? Hello?
We're here, David. We're just having a little bit of connectivity problems in the background going on.
Okay, that's fine. So basically, this would be my advice. People have to learn business. Business is not something you can learn in school, by the way. Okay, I have a master's of business administration. And I'm going to tell you that whatever was taught to me in school went right out the window once I started doing business. Because what you learn in school is theory. What you learn in the real world is practical. And there's nothing that an MBA curriculum, a BA curriculum, a BBA curriculum can teach you that will be applicable when you meet a difficult customer or when you meet a difficult boss. You just won't learn. Experience is the only thing that could teach you that. So I just want to say that, yes, we do recommend that you go learn some business courses or whatever else. Be aware that we're saying that so you learn the theory. The practice is something completely different.
And that application and that practice is where so many people who are running their version of mom and pop spiritual business, massage therapy, wellness centers, and then they hire people that are in their family who don't really want to be a part of that business either. And then there's a whole other set of conflicting things, like let's say you're running a bigger style business with more employees, and somebody comes in without the skill sets to do it. You create this employee gossip mill that seems to be never ending in many businesses.
Yeah. No business operated well with turmoil in it. Okay. It is the nature of families. You will disagree and you will agree on different points. A lot of people hire people who are their families or their friends even, Andrew, with no experience. That is always a bad idea. Okay?
That's right.
Tell your family members to get the experience or start them from the bottom up. The reason being, if you put, let's say, your cousin in charge of human resource, you will have two problems. The cousin will think that this is my cousin's business and everyone should bow down to me. There is that aspect. There's the power aspect which happens. And it happens a lot in families. Every day there's a power trip somewhere in the family. But when it's fatal to business, because once your customers see the discord between the management of a business, they're going to leave. They're going to leave you. Okay? Now you have little mom and pop shop that are hardware stores that are opening up. Okay? And they're doing well. People want to support the mom and pop shops. However, when there is discord, they're going to go to, give me a name, Home Depot. They're going to go to these faceless, nameless stores, right? That will give them the service that they want, the products that they want. People don't like drama when they're at the customer-facing end. They want to be able to get the service or the product. They want to get it at a reasonable price, and they want to get it without stress. And this is where a lot of mom and pop shops and a lot of family businesses fall down. Because as soon as there's discord, all the functions of that business begin to break down, whether it be human resource, it could be something simple as shipping. It breaks down after a while because a family member, when it is that they get offended, will choose not to work.
Or not to work effectively, and in some say sabotage. So I'm going to use a personal reference. I grew up in the restaurant business, and my parents ran multiple restaurants. And it came to a point where, let's say you were out of work, but you were still always at work. And there was no separation, and family arguments became business arguments, and business arguments became family arguments, which became sabotage in the business in the future.
That's correct. The other part of having a family business is you're never off that clock. Okay? You're never off that clock. It's a family business. Everybody should be pulling together to survive.
Right. And all too often, business conversations become personal relationship conversations and issues.
Well, generally speaking, people have lost the ability to argue effectively. You turn on any channel, a news channel, and they're interviewing people with different points of view. And the general mode of discussion is who can shout the loudest and who could be the most offensive wins the argument. This is how people argue nowadays. So we really should have a show about that on its own. Okay? Because a lot of people think that if I shout the loudest or I become the most offensive, then I've won the argument. Well, that's idiotic. That's not how we learn to argue, and it never progresses anything. But in families where things are taken very personally, that is very important. Okay? That is very important.
So when it comes to business, what are some of the techniques family business owners can do to help separate conversations that become debates in business, that become arguments in business? One sees one way, one sees another, and to not pass that over into a relationship. I have a lot of callers that are running varieties of businesses and their spouses with them, and this is a huge issue.
Yeah, that is a big issue with family businesses. Here's the advice I could give you where that is concerned. 9 times out of 10, when people have differing opinions, it may have to do with the fact that they see different sides of the business. So, for instance, human resource may see something totally different from what the executive branch of the business will see. So, I'll give you a running example of what I'm talking about. You run a little hardware store. Okay. The CEO of that hardware store says, I can order a machine that can cut lumber in any different ways without the need for any staff member. Okay? Human resource who sees real people and see people interacting with other customers or client facing, if you have a quality control department, which you really theoretically, most family businesses do not. They just have someone on the floor. And people like family businesses because there's the personal interaction, right? So you know Joe sells lumber, etc., and so on. What happens if Joe's wife, who's the CEO of that company, decides to get rid of Franco, for instance, who's the person who cuts the lumber, and put a machine inside there? Okay? So there will be an argument because Joe's wife wants to make the business more efficient and cut costs of hiring someone. But Joe, who actually goes to the floor and shakes hands with his customers, understands that his customers want that interaction. What happens then? They're seeing different sides of the business. One wants to cut costs and save money. The other one wants to keep that thing that made Joe's lumber a very personable place. Okay, the truth is somewhere in between. Whenever you have two sides of an argument, the truth is usually somewhere in between. Okay? Or the solution is in the argument itself, so to speak. So yes, you need to cut costs, but you also need to keep the personalized aspect. So maybe you might want to let go of Franco. Franco will be affected. But the personalized aspect is you give a little to get a lot. So Joe's wife needs to come down from the CEO position, get on the floor, and meet customers herself. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. Because what you lose and what you gain is totally different. A lot of family businesses, the reason why people support family businesses is because it's a family business.
Or slave labor.
Yes, it's a family business.
Oftentimes the family business will put more work on the family member versus hiring the new employee. And you and I have had this conversation before about when do you hire employees? Well, you hire them to make more money. You don't wait until you make money until you're burned out.
Understood. So here's the issue. On the subject of hiring and firing employees. Let me deal with the hiring part first. It used to be very simple to hire an employee. You just simply found somebody who fit the description and so on. Human resources become very complicated. I think probably purposely they've made it complicated. You hire people to do the job that are suitably qualified to do that job. Okay? You don't hire somebody that is your friend or your family member to do a job. It's just wrong and bad business practice. It's the wrong practice. What happens when you do that is that when they fall short and they make mistakes, you might want to be forgiving, but your customers won't be. Your customers are not going to be forgiving. The banks will not be forgiving when you make mistakes either. So you need to be very sure that you do that. You need to hire adequate staff, and you need to hire staff that are competent in what they're doing. Okay, we've had situations where people have hired people, oh, he's a friend of mine, and found themselves in worlds of trouble. Not because the friend stole or anything, but of just pure incompetence. Okay? Firing people, when to know when to fire people. Here's the problem. A lot of people, especially in light working and who open wellness practices, are very compassionate. I have actually coined the term idiot compassion. Let me tell you what idiot compassion is. I'm going to give you actually a live scenario. I have a friend who owns a rental car company. She's a very nice and soft-hearted person. She hired friends of the family. It's a full family business. One of our employees is literally 87 years old. The other one is 76. That's way past retirement age. They just come in, they fiddle with paper, but you know, they're her aunties. So she's going to keep them on the payroll. I'm like, you have issues happening. Now, she's a friend of mine, so I consulted basically for free. I looked at the books and I saw that if you drop these 2 employees, then your business will actually even itself out. So I said to her, hi, you need to drop these employees. And she said, no, she can't do that because they're her aunties. And I said, but your aunties are stifling your business because you're paying them. And you're paying them and they're not able, they don't know how the technology, how to use a computer or whatever else. And she said, well, I would rather my business fail than to fire my aunties. You understand this level of stubbornness. A lot of people who are into wellness and into that side of life, they make those mistakes. This is a deadly mistake. I don't care whether somebody's a friend of yours and so on. Another issue that we need to address is that people like to hire people that are really dumb because they don't see them as a threat.
Well put. They don't see him as a threat. And then when they do find people who can do the job, they see him as a threat and never actually give them the opportunity to succeed. Unbeatable goals and unmeetable goals in front of them. I've seen it so many times.
I'll give you a joke. I went to, this is just, well, it's not actually ha funny. It's a personal experience. So I went to the University of Edinburgh and to do my MBA. And when I graduated, I didn't feel I was complete enough because the MBA curriculum does not teach you the nuances of business. It teaches you theory. That's all it does. Okay, then you go out and you apply the theory. So I wanted to understand the nuances of project management, of business optimization, and such like. So I went to do the certification courses for all of those things. Okay, and I went through, I did Lean Six Sigma, I did all those various other courses. That was years ago, but I did all these various courses to make myself complete in business. And even then I wasn't complete because there are stories behind. If you are a business person and you know nothing about law, then you are just waiting to fail. Okay? And this is what I have a problem with a lot of MBA curriculums. They do not teach the law aspect. So I had to go learn law in an effort to complete myself. Here's the joke of it. Then I decided I would strike out into the world and I would get a job. Let me tell you what my experience was. My experience was that I was overqualified. I became overqualified. So I was unhireable because I was overqualified. Okay, now, that was actually quite kind of funny because the person interviewing you might have less qualifications than you do, therefore you are a threat, therefore you don't get hired. But that's irrelevant. What I could tell you is that in a business situation, hire the person who knows how to do the job, not the person who is dumb.
Or has to be trained to do the job thoroughly. Somebody that has an understanding of the concept before they even come in.
And I say, when I use the word dumb, I need to be very careful with the word dumb because I don't want to offend people. Hire somebody who's not dumb to the job that they're doing. They may not be dumb generally, but they are dumb to that job. Okay? You don't hire, for instance, a manual worker to manage manual workers. Okay? You don't hire somebody who has absolutely no management experience because management is a skill. It's not just a business practice. It's a skill that is developed and refined over time. Mm-hmm. The problem that we had in the job market is that we had a situation as how do you get the experience without getting work? Okay, so the simple answer to that is that you become an intern. You understand the ropes and somebody guides you through it. Pretty much how family businesses at their best operate. Okay, somebody takes you and shows you the ropes. Because if you don't know the ropes and you're thrust into a position, then you are hurting the entire business, and the business operates like cogwheels. One turns, the other turns, and they turn in unison. When one wheel stops, everything stops. So this is probably the answer to that question of how do you get knowledge and experience without getting work. You get apprentice work, and then you work your way through it.
Yeah, and work thoroughly in your culture and environment to stop interpersonal competition and drama.
There's a word that you use there, which is also very important. The culture of a business. I'm going to use some real examples now because I'm talking. There's a particular bank in the US that I went to this morning. I walked into this bank, and the person at the counter says, "Oh, you need this guy." It was a bank manager. I sat down with a bank manager directly. He said hello, and he went out of his way to help. Everybody in that bank was smiling, which is very strange for a bank. Okay, the culture of your business is very important. And when I say the culture of your business is very important, I mean the air that one feels when you come into a business. So I'll give you an example of what I'm speaking about. You go into certain businesses, and there's this overly professional sort of thing, like a lawyer's office. It feels kind of like some sort of resistance. You walk into a lawyer's office, and there's an air that hangs in the lawyer's office. You don't usually walk into a lawyer's office and see people smiling, cracking jokes, and so on. Okay? A lot of you people who run wellness and holistic practices try to emulate this professional environment to your detriment. I knew one yoga teacher who painted her studio in black and white, like the yin and yang, like completely black and white. And she abhorred any use of color in her studio. She wanted to make it very professional. You had to make an appointment. There was a desk there. It was very, very corporate feeling. Okay? She left corporate to become a yoga teacher, to open a yoga studio, to put the same culture from corporate in a yoga studio. The result? Disaster. People came there and said, "I feel tense here. I'm leaving." Be careful when it is that you make your business. If you're a light worker, whether you're a yoga professional, whether you're a Reiki person, don't try to make your business so professional that it turns people off. Understand the niche and the market that you are in and adapt your culture accordingly. People like to come into places and feel welcome. They like to come into places and they want to see people smiling, happy, having fun. Okay? Right now I'm in Boulder, Colorado. I have gone to about 3 or 4 different restaurants here. In each of these restaurants, when I walked in, there was always a smiley, effervescent, and bubbly person there. I'm thinking about moving to Colorado. Okay? Because it not only does a wonderful thing for your business, it does a wonderful thing for the rest of the businesses in the community. So you need to take this into consideration. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're offering janitorial services, there should be somebody happy and bubbly speaking to people so that they feel okay. Not some, I hate to have to use this word, crone with the pointed nose that looks at them with a severe look and say, "Do you have an appointment?" Please be sure that your culture and the general atmosphere of your business suits what it's used for. Even in a lawyer's office, I would rather go to a lawyer where I can crack jokes with the receptionist than to have some person look at me with a severe look, because people go to lawyers usually in crisis, some kind of legal or economic crisis. And they want to feel better. They don't want to feel worse. Go ahead, Andrew.
So the whole culture, it starts with the business owner who may or may not understand the type of attitude or reflection that they're giving. Now, I grew up in the restaurant business, so you had to be bold and yet effervescent and happy immediately and right away. And that's something that's continued on with my own business here. But that culture begins with you. Now, when you pass on a culture in a small business, it's really about service, friendship, the ability to not have the serious. But when it comes serious, that the employee or the person can step into the structure or infrastructure that's the business that allows some serious energy to take over. Like example with that bank manager, we were still crack jokes. We talked about all sorts of unique things while he was continuing doing his work. The beauty about it is he felt comfortable to do that, knowing that no one was really watching over him in a sense, yet he was still doing his work. How do we, in a wellness industry, get our employees to do that? Well, you got to know who that employee is. So many of them hired the broken people who need hundreds of hours of work to be their person. That's their desk person. That's their video person who may not realize that 6 calls into the day, they're a depressive asshole. Or worse, they don't allow anyone to have their perspective and point of view and say, yes, I know what you're saying, and filling in people's lines, and that's not what they're saying. All too often in the light work industry, they pretend to be psychic, pretend to know what's in the conversation, and you lose a client right there.
This is actually quite true. We have 2 reasons. I think in the last show I mentioned this yogi who visited me over the weekend. This sort of severe, I'm so super serious. I understand that you sometimes have to be super serious, and some people are just not naturally effervescent or bubbly. Right. So a question was asked in the chat, how do you create an environment which is positive in your place? If you are a light worker or you're in the wellness industry, that should be your staple go-to environment that you create. That should be the staple. Okay? Because people are coming to you in crisis 9 times out of 10, and they would rather speak to somebody who's actually happy as opposed to somebody who's very severe with them, because you don't know what that person has been through. Okay? So how do you choose who to hire? It starts from the hiring process. Instead of looking at what's on the piece of paper, what the person says, oh, the person says, I'm a Reiki master, yoga teacher, doctor of divinity, whatever it is that they have on this paper, is absolutely of no account. Okay? These skills can be acquired by anyone. You look at the personality of the individual first, because you need to know, okay, you are seriously qualified. However, you're a bit of a jerk. Okay? And how do you ascertain this in an interview situation? Well, we're actually making a business model, but I'm going to give this out right here on air. Okay? So how do I ascertain which employees are hireable and which employees are not? Okay. At the beginning of this, well, let's use some NLP here more than anything else. The handshake, if it isn't accompanied by a smile, don't hire that person. You know, when you stretch your hands out, that person, however, may be nervous, very nervous, because there's certain people who are nervous. So that's the first test. If you know the person is not nervous and the person is confident, they've shook your hand and they looked at you in the eyes, and there is no smile, there is no I'm happy to meet you, don't hire that person. That's number 1. Number 2, when you start the conversation with the individual, when you start the conversation, forget about intuition, because not everybody is intuitive. I'm going to just give practical advice. Okay? Put something out of your reach, like a glass of water, a piece of paper. Ask that individual, could you just hand me that piece of paper? Okay? Put it out of both of your reach. That's a simple hiring test. Observe their reaction when it is that you ask them to hand a piece of paper or this. Observe the reaction. Okay? Obviously, all of them will do it because they want a job. But the devil is in the details. Notice how fast they hand it over, how quickly they move. Do they say, oh, sure, no problem? Or do they say, yeah, and pass it over? Are they silent when they pass it over? These are the little things that you need to be aware of. The third test that I would see off the top of my head, if you wanted to run tests in your interview process, would be to check how fast the person talks, how fast they get your concepts. Are they willing to laugh when you crack a joke? These are just simple things. You don't need to have a degree in psychology, or you don't need to be an expert in body language. These are the simple things. When I ask a question, do I have to wait for the idea of what I'm saying to actually imprint on that person? Does the person ask questions when they do not understand? Do these things, does the person look at me in the eye? Does that person have some issue or whatever else? There's another aspect to this. Some people are overly bubbly and some people are really charming, but they're horrible people. So how do you get past that concept? How do you test for something like that? They could be wonderful in the interview, but when they hire them, they become horrible people. So my answer to that would be in the problem itself. People usually ask the question, what are your weaknesses? That is a very important question. It's a psychoneurotic question. They're not looking to see whether or not you can answer the question. They're looking to see your reaction when they ask the question. Ask this question in the middle of the interview. When they have become very comfortable, ask this question in the middle of the interview. What are your weaknesses?
Some weaknesses that pop up are pre-canned things that they've learned in these interviewing techniques. And there are other ways to determine really what these weaknesses are, and then to understand how they formulate their answer is probably how they create lies oftentimes. And that's why in these interview techniques, when you use the stuff like David is talking, you'll understand where the person is coming from. Now, in the wellness industry, a lot of people just want to throw a warm body at a scenario, thinking that a warm body will fix anything. And in fact, 9 times out of 10, it makes it worse. So a lot of people in the wellness industry have technical support issues, major technical issues, technical fears, and they refuse to hire a technical person to make their job easy because they don't even know what questions to ask the technical person when they sit down in front of them. And then they'd hire a technical person, and that technical person quits every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, because that non-technical person doesn't write anything down, has a hard capacity of retaining the technical information, and doesn't really know how the technical stuff applies to make their business make more money.
Okay, so all businesses nowadays need a tech person. If you're running a business that is successful and you don't have technology at your fingertips, then God is on your side, clearly. Right? You do need technology. You do need it nowadays. Okay. Learning technology for some people is very, very difficult. I have personally tried to teach certain people how to use technology and being frustrated. A lot of people out here, even people listening to this broadcast, have some sort of mental block when it comes to using a computer. You don't used to learn to use computers overnight. You learn to use them by trial and error and doing it over and over again, like riding a bike. And once you learn to use it, it becomes part of you. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you are the age that you cannot learn anymore, then you shouldn't have a business in the first place, because business is all about learning. If you are the age where you are afraid of technology, then you should theoretically be afraid of business. Okay? you should theoretically be afraid of business. It depends on what business you're running. I don't really care if you're running a business out of your basement. I don't really care if you're running a business out of some little hole in the wall or whatever else. Technology can make your business better. And I know a lot of people in the esoteric industry, whether it be in wellness or fitness or whatever else, have this sort of
blockage,
false belief as well, huh?
Yeah, blockage, false belief, whatever you want to call it, bad culture.
That they can't use this technology or they don't need the technology. You are wrong. You are wrong. Okay? And there's an old Japanese statement, that which does not grow dies. And part of growing in business is learning the technologies that apply to your business and using them effectively.
And that effectivity of using technology means somebody in the business has to know how technology makes the business make more sales. And that's another major structural deficiency, especially in the wellness industry, how passive income can be just as effective as direct income from doing sessions. And that websites and so on and so forth, you may have put all this professional information in from, but that doesn't make any money.
Yes. Let me just clarify a few things. What is active income from passive income? Okay, I just need to clarify that for the audience. Active income, I am a massage body worker. I massage a client. Client pays me. After the massage, active income. Passive income, I am a massage body worker. I become a teacher of massage. I record videos of massage. I put it on the internet. People pay me on the internet to watch my videos while I sit at home watching Netflix. Passive income. I think everybody's gotten that right now. Okay. Okay. So which one would you rather be? The active income or the passive income?
Not passive.
Or you could do both. There's no cap as to there's no cap on your limited your abilities. But I'm going to tell you, if you're always in active income, please be aware, if you are a massage body worker or a light worker or any other worker for that matter, please be aware that time is not on your side. That's what right. You do now, 10 years from now, you're not going to be able to do. You might do 100 clients today. 10 years from now, it might be down to 10 or 5, which would mean that your income will be down to the income you make from 10 or 5 clients. Be aware that as long as you can keep into the active part of your income, God bless you, really. But the passive side of your income will continue while you are sitting down watching Netflix in your 70s. Right. So when you answer that question, be very, very careful. Okay?
Yes. A lot of them are watching Netflix on massage industry. So a lot of those people that don't allow passive income to come in, many massage therapists make the mistake of never using a vibratory massage tool that can take what is an 8 or 10 hour massage to get a person done, and you can do it in one session. They don't allow technology to come into their actual business to make their jobs easier. Well, 9 times out of 10, the massage that is given, the energy that it takes is nowhere equal to the dollar value. And often in psychotherapy, the same thing. The amount of money that you're paying is nowhere near the amount of service that's coming back into helping one change their bigger concept. Therefore, there's always an inadequacy in the light workers and the therapy people that are charging something that isn't to their value. And then they run into the lack of technology that can't allow them to have passive income. And it puts them into this double negative scenario where brute force labor is the only way to get things done.
Okay. Well, there are a number of things there that to unpack in what you just said. If you are a massage body worker, if you are a shiatsu person or any other form of massage therapy, any kind of manual work, okay, the amount of calories that you burn in one massage therapy session, if your client wants deep tissue, you really think it's worth the $100, $200 that you have burned?
Or 60. Many of them are 60. And really? They should never be at 60. Yeah.
Do you really think that you can actually go through the 10 clients and your body's not going to feel it? I know hundreds of massage therapists with the pain in their hands, that tired feeling, that burnt out feeling. If you're a psychotherapist and you're seeing multiple clients a day, which I used to do, okay, I literally went to work at 8 o'clock and left my office at 8 p.m. Okay? The energy that it takes for you to retain information, give back information, just because you're sitting, and sitting can be deadly in and of itself, sitting for long hours. Okay? It can be very deadly to you if you're a psychotherapist or somebody who works with light or whatever else. A Reiki practitioner, you're standing all the time. Okay? Find some sort of passive income. Use your knowledge effectively and think laterally of how can I make money without having to drain myself constantly. Okay? This is what we're talking about here. Okay? You could do both. You could do the active. The active is necessary because it gets you out there. And you could do also the passive income because it is going to be sustaining you when you cannot work. Okay? If you're a massage therapist, you get the flu, you get sick, there is no money coming in.
And then you have to double up your work to make all your sessions back.
And then you have to double up your work, and then you burn yourself out. Be very careful with that. Mm-hmm. So there are a number of avenues for passive income. You could get into teaching. Okay, you could run a course where you bring people in and you teach them massage therapy, you teach them your skills. There are a number of different ways of creating passive income. Yep. And if you're not doing that, you're just waiting for the day when you run out of energy.
Right. That's why so many people have to spend a significant time on their menu of services, just like a restaurant, an appetizer, a starter, a main course, the upsell. It all has to be there. And too many people in the wellness, massage, healing industry, they do one thing. They do one thing. And they try to mix a whole bunch of other things into that one thing they do. Let's say they're cranial sacral advanced, myofascial advanced, Reiki, this. And they're doing all these techniques at once, but they're not charging anymore.
Here is the funny thing about this. If you are a massage therapist who's learned Swedish massage, you know intrinsically that learning, I don't know, something like Reiki, energy healing, will actually upgrade your practice and upgrade your skill sets. You know intrinsically that that is the truth. If you are a Swedish massage therapist, you know that learning acupressure will upgrade your technique. You know that learning structural integration will do so. Yep. There are certain things that marry well with each other. So if you are in a particular kind of mode where you're just a specialist, all I do is Swedish massage and that's all there is. And at the top of your door, there's a sign that says Swedish massage therapist. While 2 doors down from you, Swedish massage is like on a Chinese menu.
Yeah.
That person, you know, you go to a Chinese restaurant and you open the menus and they're like thousands of options. The person who the customer is going to choose 2 doors down from you, unless the doctor says specifically go to that Swedish therapist. Okay, the majority of people will choose the Chinese menu option because it gives them options. But let me tell you what it gives you. It means that you have made a dedication to expanding your knowledge. It means that you are dedicated to your work and your practice. These are the things that you have to understand. And the psychotherapists, because I'm going to just deal with everyone here. The psychotherapist, you say, well, I've done psychotherapy. There's no side angle for psychotherapy. Really? There is. If you're a psychotherapist and you don't know hypnotherapy, or you've not trained in hypnotherapy, you are doing half the story. I'm going to say this to you right now and right here on air. I have done psychotherapy for a very long time. I've been a psychotherapist. I've practiced psychotherapy. I've been a counselor to many people. When I learned hypnotherapy, the results that I got for my clients and my customers was like night and day. Okay? Do you really want to see the same person for 10 years, or would you rather see the same person for 5 visits? Think about that very carefully. Because you might say, well, for 10 years, because he's sustaining my income. Well, that would be a you thing. That would not be a customer thing. You're thinking about yourself, not necessarily about the clients who you are charged to help heal and also to protect. But if you learn the hypnotherapy, it minimizes your time. Let me tell you what that gives you. That person will go to a lot of people and say, this person helped me in 5 sessions. You will get what you lose in the number of visits from that person, you will gain in the publicity that that person will give you. And this is a model that we have actually tested and we have figures for. Referrals from clients, testimonials from clients make more business for you. It's just simple like that. There's no magic to this. If you do very well for your client by upgrading your skill sets and learning the side businesses that can come from one particular field, you're a psychotherapist and that's all you know, and you're not a hypnotherapist and you're not getting into hypnotherapy, you're not getting into any other. Listen, if you are a healer of any kind, whether you're a Reiki practitioner, whether you're a psychotherapist, and you're not upgrading your skill sets regularly, then you're just thinking about what is convenient for you. You are supposed to be able to throw everything but the client at the client, but the kitchen sink. And as Andrew put it in the last broadcast, you should throw the kitchen sink as well. Anything that will work to get that person out of the hole that they're in. Anything. Okay, and if you're not willing to do that, you probably should not be in healing. You probably should not.
Or in business.
Correct.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have this pie in the sky dream that I'm going to be this, I'm going to be a that, and then they open it up and it fails and fails and fails. And I have hundreds of cases and clients and people and call me, I've done everything, but actually put the real effort behind it.
You mean from the client side or the therapist side?
The whole shebang.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a bit of a humorous story here. So I'm a nutritionist and I've done nutrition counseling. I had this client who could not lose weight. First of all, I did the theory. You cut certain things from your diet. She loves cheesecake. And I'm not the kind of nutritionist who's going to tell you, stop eating stuff. I'm going to tell you to add stuff to lose weight. I know what everybody's saying. How can that be? 9 times out of 10, people can't lose weight because they're eating the wrong stuff. They try some celebrity diet and they can't get their act together, so to speak. So I was wondering, with all my adjustments, this woman is not losing weight. And what the deal we had is you can have a slice of cheesecake a week if you do everything else right. Let me tell you what the results were. The results were she wasn't losing weight. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to have to actually tail you around to find out what is happening. So every time she was about to eat something, I would message her, she would message me, and I would say, take a picture of what it is that you're eating. Let me tell you what the results was. You want to know what the results was, Andrew? I told her she could have a little slice of cheesecake. Well, imagine a cheesecake as a round object. She would cut the cheesecake in 3.
Ah! So it was like 5 slices.
Right? I'm like, why is that piece of cheesecake so huge? Okay, I have an idea in my mind of the dimensions of I was thinking of, but she took it as a sort of loophole, right? And she would like have this huge slice of cheesecake, and I'm like, I think I found the culprit. You can imagine how unimpressed I was, right? I was very, very unimpressed. So we finally got the cheesecake problem under control, and she started to lose weight. I'm like, wow, it's magic. So that's from the client side. From the therapist side, Okay, some people are very set in their ways. And when I say healers, when I said healers, I was actually talking about traditional doctors because some traditional doctors do irritate me. If you're a traditional doctor and you know that certain herbs will help your client, send the client to a herbalist. Do not be pompous in your, I went to school, so if I can solve it, nobody else can. That is a lot of nonsense. Do whatever it takes to get your client well. And notice I didn't say patient, I said client. Because the doctor is running a business as well, and the pharmaceutical industry are usually their suppliers. And there's a whole other discussion where doctors and the pharmaceutical industry are concerned. Okay, so if you're a doctor and you have this arrogant attitude that we're going to, if I can't solve it, nobody else can, then you're a hazard to your client. You're a hazard. And that goes for the esoteric practitioners as well. If you know your client needs a doctor, send them to the doctor. Doctors, if you know your client needs a herbalist, if you know your client needs someone to massage them, send them to that person. Do whatever it takes. Heal your client first. Heal your ego after.
All too often in the light worker industry, they are not healed enough to start business. You need to be a healed healer to understand what the healing industry is. And so many of them, they're, let's just say, halfway through their healing journey and they're in business now. And they start taking on clients and their journey is halfway.
Yes. Like every psychotherapist that was in my class when I was learning psychotherapy learned it to heal themselves.
Right.
They were in the class to heal themselves. Okay. So the psychotherapist that you go to probably got there because something went wrong with them and they just didn't trust anybody to fix it themselves. So they decided to fix it themselves. And a lot of us come to healing because we need to heal ourselves. Okay. And I say a lot of us because I mean, like, there's not anybody on earth that I know that doesn't need some kind of healing. Okay. Whether it be physical, whether it be mental. I have not met the perfect being yet who's completely healed and whole. We all have fragments and we all have issues. Right. But while we are climbing out of the hole, we can actually help somebody else out of the hole. Okay. We're all going in that direction. Okay. So you have healers who are themselves healing, but some of them become healers out of arrogance. Okay. All right. Physician, heal thyself is very important. When you have made a breakthrough through yourself, you can share it with others competently. But if you are just mired in all sorts of issues and so on, think very carefully before you decide to pull people out of their issues as well, okay? Because you might actually be pushing them down in that hole, okay?
Yes. All too often, your wounds have similar concepts in your clients, which can exacerbate those wounds and really not heal them.
Correct.
All right, David, let's go ahead and take our break now. And then when we come back from our break, we are going to go ahead and take some calls. So everyone stretch that raise and lower your hand thing. Will they learn how to do it? So Robert, go ahead and take us on our break.
Hey, will do. Just want to let everyone know we have a couple special intro videos that we want to share with you guys today as we're producing new things for Universal Citizen.
Hello, my name is Chris Ray Chappell, and I'm going to be teaching in Aniki, Barbados from the 11th of October for 3 days, an intensive on Hunyuan Primordial Qigong. This is a classical energy work set, which is primarily meant to open up all of the energy pathways of the body and to actually get you into your essence. Now, the idea of this set is it's going to open every single joint, muscle, every bit of connective tissue, the sinews, the organs, the spine, access the blood flow to the brain, creating a homeostasis. Now, Qigongs classically are meant for either health, power development and strength, and often for meditation. So the application of this set is broad ranging. So I'd like to welcome you there. Hopefully you can make it for the 3 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy teaching it and sharing what I have and to see who turns up. So I'd like to see you there. Thanks very much. Bye.
Baby steps for adults, drug abuse. What is drug addiction? Am I an addict? Who does drug addiction really harm? They can hurt your sense of judgment, decision-making, memory, and ability to learn. They can hurt your loved ones and so many others around you. Drug addiction is a disease which can be cured. Our Baby Steps program can provide the information you and your family need to overcome this illness. Online access to professionals working in the field of addiction, webinars and group counseling for those battling this addiction, full instruction to help you first understand this disease and how to cope with it. Join us today. We're here to help. Baby steps for adults, codependency. I can't live with or without you. I just want to look good for you. I would do anything for you. All popular words to famous songs. But guess what? They all indicate someone in a codependent relationship. Codependency is an addiction to another human being. You will see a strong relationship between codependency and negative physical side effects, which can manifest in violence towards your spouse or partner. If you're in a codependent relationship, you may need help. Join us today and free yourself from this addiction. Baby steps for adults, sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is a real problem in our societies. Every year, thousands of children are abused. These children constitute the most vulnerable members of our society. However, sexual abuse is also a real problem among our adult population. It can be violent and unwanted within family groups, as well as extreme harassment at the workplace. We can help. With online access to trained professionals working with victims of abuse and sexual assault, webinars and group counseling for those suffering from the trauma and struggling to make sense of their lives, full instruction to help you overcome the trauma and how to detect and assist other victims. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Join us today. Baby steps for adults, communication. Hey there! Are you reading this? Do you understand me? Oh, great! Then we're communicating. So what is good communication? Expressing exactly how you feel. Being personal and one-on-one. A simple touch or gesture of love. And what is poor communication? Screaming and shouting. Belittling others. Violence or verbal abuse. Would you like to learn to be an effective communicator? Join us today. Oh, bye now.
Welcome back, everyone, to our continuing episode, Universal Citizens Media. Welcome back, David. How you doing? David will be here in just a segment because we didn't have our segment countdown. So, everyone, I want everyone to practice raising and lowering your hand inside the digital chat room. For those of you that are technologically challenged, click on the Manage Participants button. And there you will cognitively see how to raise and lower your hand. For all those people that are watching on the Twitch platform, Facebook, or YouTube, if you want to be selected as a caller, you must come to the Zoom chat, the Zoom room, to be able to raise and lower your hands. You can sign up for the email list to get all the instructions to sign up for the live call-in shows. So practice raising and lower your hands. We're going to do some digital exercises here. We had some very fun conversation with David about some of the technical issues a lot of the people in the light worker community face. And caller after caller after caller after caller, you'll hear me ask, what kind of technical background do you have? What are your job skills? and they find themselves doing things that they have no skills with, yet can naturally do it and won't take themselves to the next level. All right, Robert, while we're waiting for David to get his connectivity issues done, why don't we open up the wheel of callers?
Our first caller is Michelle Sorensen.
Michelle, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Sweden.
From Sweden. Welcome to the show. What questions did you have?
Thank you. Yes. Are we gonna talk about the subject of today, or could we?
Yeah, today's the subject of today. Yeah.
Okay. 3 years ago, I got laid off because they were reorganizing the company, and I was the one of them who got laid off. But it was actually a really good time in my life because I couldn't really quit myself because I was overworked. So and then I did my revocation, and I actually found love after 5 years being single, and after 5 months I got pregnant, and now we have 2 kids, and I'm gonna apply for work really soon. And I don't know, it feels like I don't know really what direction to choose, because
you got to choose yourself as a direction, because right now you have 2 children, right?
Yeah, I have three that are birthed, and I have 2 step kids.
And how old are they?
Oh, I have 12, 11, 7, 1.5, and 7 months.
All right, so you've got a wide ranging of children and infants and toddlers constantly taking your needs, your time, your energy. So what is the best thing? The best thing for you to do right now is, how do you carve out time for yourself, so even that the 1.5-year-old and the 7-month-old are taken care of for an hour or two, while you can recollect your thoughts, your mind, your spirit, and do things that matter to you in a moment? Is the 12-year-old responsible enough to look after a kid for an hour?
No. No, they're not.
Is there? Okay.
If somebody's home, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And if an adult is home, yeah.
So, like many other parents that are in this situation, you need help. You need an employee to raise your family.
Hello, everyone.
So sad.
Hey, David, how you doing?
That is so sad.
That journey to rediscovering yourself is telling your husband that you need help, and that for him to actually understand that you need help. Two of those kids came from a previous relationship, and the ones that you have now too, right?
Yeah, one of them, and the other 2 is his kids.
Okay.
And we have 2 together.
So how are you supposed to be able to go back to work, and who's going to take care of all those children if you go back to work?
The plan is that he's going to be a stay-at-home dad, and he's really good at it. So that is not so much of a problem. But I was thinking more spiritually, the direction I should take. Because of like we were talking about before, to not get too stuck in this corporal thinking, and also kind of apply yourself into the work without losing yourself.
Okay. What kind of work are you going to go back into?
I was working in e-commerce, so I work with web shops, building them up and such.
And how many years have you been out?
I haven't been working for 3 years.
And do you realize how much e-shops have changed in 3 years?
Yeah, I know. That's why I think I need to
developer jobs like what you're talking about are nowhere near what they are availability before.
Yeah. So that's also the thing that I feel way behind.
Okay. So David, are you here? So we have a lady with the technical scenario, 4 kids from 12 to 7 to 1.5 and 7 months. And she goes back to the work field, and she's trying to separate to make herself whole again.
Okay. What does that mean? Separate to make herself whole again? Please define.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michelle.
No, I just became a mother. So it's also that process of kind of finding out who you are again. So I'm like a clean slate. And also in my career, I'm also clean slate. So right now I'm in the process of finding a work, or I'm going to start looking for work. And I don't want to lose the spiritual work I've built up again to a job. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, Michelle. Michelle, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said you have a developer's background. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And the spiritual work that you're talking about, could you speak more about that?
Sorry. Could you ask the question again?
What spiritual work have you been doing?
I've been really, because when I lost my job, I really identified myself as the job I had. So when I lost it, I was totally confused to who I was. And after that, I just before I lost my job, I did my revocation. So that actually also a couple of months after, it kind of started to sink in to what I was supposed to do. And it was supposed to kind of calm down and kind of I had to let I'm sorry, I had to stop thinking about everything. I had to take out every must in my life, so except eating and sleeping and the basics, and start over.
So basically you were in a corporate environment doing corporate things. You lost your identity to the corporate environment.
Yeah.
And then you lost the corporate environment, which means you lost your identity, which means you had to recreate yourself. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the spiritual work I did after that, it was like start building myself up again, and to believe my worth as a person, and also understand not to relate to a job. Actually kind of finding myself, but now I'm in a position that I'm actually starting to get afraid again to lose myself going into this situation.
Do you have a job presently, Michelle?
No, I'm home at maternity leave.
Okay. When were you thinking of going back into the same thing you were doing before?
Yeah, possibly, because it's easy way to kind of earn money. But
what are the platforms that you work with?
E-commerce.
Yeah, what platforms in e-commerce do you work with?
Like retail. Is it,
Okay, let me see.
What kind of system I use, or?
Yes, please.
Magenta. And Site Direct is different kind of platforms to build and work as an
I'm familiar with the platforms,
workshop.
Michelle.
Yes, yeah.
I'm familiar with them. Okay.
So those two.
Okay, Michelle. Okay, first thing is first, let me tell you that WordPress has pretty much nullified a lot of your business. Okay. They've reduced e-commerce to a plugin that you just plug into a website. Okay? So you might need to upgrade your skills first of all. But if you worked with these platforms that you're just talking about, Magento and so on, you will probably be ahead of the game with learning something like WordPress. The reason why Andrew was saying that the e-commerce platform building has changed is because they've made it very accessible for everyone, right? So people don't even need to be coding anymore. They just simply embed a store into their site right now. So you're going to have to upgrade your skills first of all. But let me deal with what you were talking about earlier on. Yes, you will have fear, but you have made the mistake once. I assume that you have learned from the mistake. Am I correct?
Yes.
Losing yourself to your work. Okay. I'm also understanding that you have 4 children. Am I correct?
Yeah, 3 children and 2 stepkids. So we're 5 children.
Well, that's a lot of responsibility right there.
Yeah.
If you are stepping into the world of business and the corporate structure once again, Michelle, I will probably advise you to step gingerly and take the regular checks of yourself. Now you have 5 children, which are a responsibility. Now, the stepchildren, your husband or your spouse is going to be a stay-at-home dad. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So before you step into this field and get yourself lost again, upgrade your skills. That's your first order of the day. Because you're going to have to learn WooCommerce because 90% of the users are using it right now.
Yeah.
You're probably going to have to learn how to adjust payment gateways such as PayPal and Stripe and so on. This is the new wave that is happening right now. Okay. I can tell you we use platforms like this, and it doesn't require a lot of coding of any kind. You're going to have to do that. That's the first thing you might need to do. The second thing you might need to do is I don't know whether your husband is particularly special, but a lot of men find it challenging to be stay-at-home dads, okay?
Oh, no.
Because they usually don't. He loves them.
Best thing. Yeah, he loves being a dad. He wishes to be home with them all the time.
And can you make enough money to support your entire family of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people? 7?
Yeah, it could. It could.
Okay. If you're going to do that, work for your family. Don't work for the job itself. If you understand what I'm saying. Be aware that you're giving your service to this job in order to feed your family. And think of it in that sense. You may not lose your identity again that way. Are you with me?
Yeah, that's also the big difference from before. I only have my son. We were alone, so it was just I was a single mom. So my situation has totally flipped, and I feel like I have a purpose now. That's why it also feels so strange going back to work, because we're so comfortable being a family, and we don't want to disturb that energy we have built up, because I have been home now for 2 years, almost 2 years. But it's necessary, of course. It's necessary. So, yeah.
Yes, it is necessary. And you're frightened to step back in there, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing to be frightened of. You've already learned your lesson.
But it's like you said, it's the technical part, and it's a lot of things to kind of, I had to.
Michelle, there are a lot of people, once you learn the basics of IT, you never forget it. You can ask our IT person who's actually commenting in the chat, Jen. Can Jen speak?
Hi, Jen.
Jenny, are you there?
Hello. Yes.
You're into IT, am I correct?
Yes.
Jen is our IT wizard, and what she does for us is unbelievable. She's actually on the chat right now. Jenny, this lady has used platforms before. She wants to get back into IT. You have any advice for her?
Yes, I actually chat a while ago, and I advised her to update her skills
Mhm.
while she's in the process of waiting. And I've heard that she has a baby, so I guess that will be hard for her to look for a new job. But there are plenty of opportunities uh, online. Like there are several work that can be done remotely. So I guess that will help her.
Jenny,
That is so
tell
great tip.
Michelle where you are.
I'm actually here in the Philippines, and
Ah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the benefits of working from home. I'm glad to have to work with Andrew and the team. So
Yeah, I can
yeah.
imagine. I'm half Filipino also, and
Oh
I can. And the last time you talked, I told my partner that she must be Filipino because of your dialect.
yes.
you see, Michelle, Jenny's working from home right now. Jenny, and you have a child, don't you, Jenny?
Yes. I have my son, and he is 16 years old, and hopefully I'll have my baby soon
Yeah.
also. But yeah.
So,
So
Michelle,
that's a
does that
great idea.
help you out there?
Yeah, I feel much comfortable in the situation. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, and Michelle, if we there are lots of people who need your skills. I don't know if Sarkis needs someone. Sarkis, are you on this chat? We're trying to match make here. All right. Sarkis, if you need someone who's into e-commerce, we have someone for you. Okay. All right, Michelle.
Thank
It's
you.
not that difficult. All right. Just drop us a line info at Unified Health Systems if you want to talk to Jenny again or you want to hear from myself or Andrew. And we can support you through this process. It's not I understand it's frightening, but we're here. Okay.
Also, being from Sweden, they will repay for so much of your training as well as weekend courses as long as you can validate it to them. I have a lot of clients that come there, and they'll even help you start a business too. You just have to
Yeah.
look in what services are available to you. Sweden is very big on the social things that they give back to people.
Yeah, that's why I could stay home for so
Yeah.
long because yeah, we have really good benefits.
So there are a handful of technical courses that are weekend courses that could get you brushed up back on your skills, like at a remote operations skill, where you can work for a tech support company that isn't in India that does payment gateway tech support to common business people like me and David who have issues with payment gateway support, which you already have an idea about, okay? And other things that just require you to come in and click the right boxes because we don't realize what boxes are unclicked because a computer reset or whatever it is. And that's a high dollar per hour or a corporate consult job that you can get and consult and do all sorts of little things. And then, hire if you want to, having more people do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you so much.
Jenny, please drop into the chat info at unifiedhealthsystems.com so that Michelle can contact us.
I will.
Hey, thanks a lot, Michelle, for calling in. You've been a great teacher to a lot of people.
Oh, thank you. I was so nervous.
Well, don't be nervous. You got 5 kids. Don't be nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
On your eyes.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day. All right, Robert, let's spin the wheel of callers.
Thanks, Michelle. The next caller will be Kevin. Kevin, you're unmuted.
Kevin, are you there? Kevin, going once, going twice.
Can't unmute his thing for some reason.
Kevin is having technical difficulties. He will need a remote operator to help him unmute.
Okay, I'm trying to unmute Kevin right now. And Kevin is unmutable. Okay. So, shall we spin the wheel of callers?
Spin the
Yeah,
next wheel of
let's move on to
callers.
the
Exactly.
next person, Violet. Let's see if we can unmute you.
Violet,
Hi.
are you there? Hey, where are you calling from today, Violet?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Welcome to the show today. What questions did you have?
My question is, what do you suggest using for like a PC? Not a PC, like a notebook, something I can carry around with me. I've had computers in the past, but just the simple task of like attaching a photo to an email, from like a Google Photos album, I can't even figure that out. So my question is like,
how old are you?
I'm 38.
So you're 3 years past the millennial cutoff and you can't figure out how to attach a picture to a photo in Gmail?
I can do it on my phone. I do everything from my phone now, but
What phone does she have?
I have right now I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Ah, that's a high-tech piece of equipment you have there in your hand.
Very high-tech.
So
yeah, it's a great phone.
Okay, so basically you want a laptop notebook that will
run Android.
That is no. Sorry. You basically want a notebook.
A Chromebook.
No, you see, Andrew and I have this ongoing problem with him and his Chromebook, right? So I'm going to give you the best advice I could give you here. Where's your email?
Where is it?
Yeah, what email? You use Gmail? You use a domain email?
I use Gmail, but this is for my business. I'll be using something different.
Something different, like a personalized email?
I had the Chromebook and I couldn't figure that out.
Okay, that's fine. So my question, here's what I would suggest that you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so going to, I hate to have to say this because, oh my God, the best option for you, if you want something that is intuitive, is to check yourself into the Apple Store and get yourself an 11-inch, very, very low-end MacBook 2013. The reason why I suggest that option, it is the lowest maintenance notebook ever. So everything is pretty much drag and drop. So here's what happens, right? If you've just, I know you're on Note 9. You just open Gmail, you put Gmail on your browser. Do you know how to add a bookmark to a browser?
Yes.
Okay, so open Gmail, put it as a bookmark on your browser so that you signed in. And when you want to send pictures in Gmail, all you do is you make the window smaller. You drag the picture from your Finder into the Gmail, and it immediately attaches itself. That's all you need. Cool. You just drag it across and drop it. That's it. And then you press send, and that's it.
And awesome. And the MacBook, working with a MacBook.
Air.
It's a MacBook Air.
MacBook Air.
Okay.
Is that going to be easy with an Android?
No.
Wait 1 second. There ways. Do you have WhatsApp on your computer?
I have it. I don't have, my computer's in storage. I can't even figure it out. But on my phone, I can. Yes.
I think what's been happening is that you've been trying to figure out Windows environment. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to figure out Windows 10. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. What program do you use in Windows 10?
This I haven't used it. When it first came out, Windows 10. That's when honestly I heard Andrew mention a couple of shows ago that so I think that my stuff's been hacked into, and now I'm realizing after what Andrew said is it's probably me just not understanding it.
Okay.
But yeah, Windows 10 was the last thing that I tried.
Okay, So Windows 10 can be confusing to anybody. I keep telling people, in terms of computer platforms and so on, Windows 10 requires a learning curve if you're new. Okay? If you're new to this platform, it requires a learning curve.
A big one.
Yeah, a big one. Right. A lot of people got into deeper tech because they were forced to actually fix Windows when it malfunctioned. So in terms of a low learning curve, you might want to switch platforms to Mac OS. The reason why is because a lot of the Mac OS is basically drag this, drop it here, and it just attaches itself. Okay?
Yeah, it's black and white if it's going to work or it's not going to work. Not guess, hit the button, and hope it Windows 10 work.
Okay, so it's just a drag and drop. Everything is pretty much drag and drop, which is the reason why people like Mac OS. You're using a Samsung Note 9. So you have to do a lot of other things, don't you? But then it makes it easy because there's a little paperclip thing that you attach things to. Am I correct? So what I'm getting from you is not that you're necessarily having issues with computers, is that you're used to the phone software and you're not used to the computer platform software. Am I correct?
Yes.
And it's trusting the different environment, which is why so many people have a tough time learning a Windows environment, is because there's an innate distrust to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How often has Windows failed you?
Oh my God. The whole time. I bought a $1,000 computer and I've never figured out how to use it.
You bought a $1,000 computer? No, buy yourself a MacBook and do drag and drop.
Yes.
Drag, drop.
Yeah.
Drag, drop.
Sounds easy. Okay.
You basically click on it and you just drag it and you drop it and that's it.
Okay. On a regular basis, I tell people that their phone becomes haunted or their computer becomes haunted. You're referring to that conversation I had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So how do you test if your phone or computer is haunted?
Well, all of a sudden on my Google photos started appearing, and they would be from the file name was always FBI image, and then followed by a series of numbers. And it wouldn't be photos of me, but it would be photos of stuff I was doing in my life at the time. And
so that's a Google photo. That's a Google photo option, which you may not even know was installed onto your computer. That's taking stuff throughout your life and showing it to you as a part of a self-intuitive system, which creates a paranoia and a distrust of the environment.
Yeah, I could give you a few.
This is why you should never have porn on your computer when you're using those Google picture programs, because they will suddenly pop up as part of your lifestyle.
Okay. So I need to give this caller some advice. Once again, using a Samsung Note 9. I only use Note phones from Samsung. Okay, when it comes to phones, I'm going to use a Note. Okay, personally, of course. Other people have different tastes, but I like having a stylus on my phone in case I need to sign something. So my suggestion to you, you should know that the Note is a very developed system. Okay, what was happening with your Google Photos 9 times out of 10 is that there's a little sub option that Note creates. The Note creates, and Google wanted to make an environment where people intuitively, but they went overboard with it. So they actually take pictures from your Google Photos once you signed in, and they make a story. Okay. When they take the photos from your Google Photos, when they take the photos from it, they have to rename the file to make this story. It's called a Google Story. Okay, and they do it, and you don't know it's on your phone, and you can't stop it. You have to actually go online to stop that thing from happening. It's kind of like when you put location services off, and you go somewhere, and it still shows up. You've been here, but I put location services off. Okay. So there's no escaping Google. First of all, I should just tell everyone this right now. There is absolutely no way you can escape Google. If you have one of their devices, whether it be a Google Home or whatever else, you can't escape Google. You can't be forgotten by Google either. There were a few court cases that I could tell you about, but I'm just giving the callers some background. But for your problem, I don't want to stray too far from your problem. If you're used to the Note environment, there is no computer equivalent to the Note environment. What you can do what I have done, because I like to simplify my life, really. So I got a very small, I'm actually transmitting some of this stuff that you're seeing right now from a MacBook, okay? So it narrows down the options that you have. You just drag and drop everything. It doesn't matter what that thing is, and the computer pretty much does what it needs to do to get your photo in your email or whatever else, okay? Do not confuse yourself. Windows 10, I've been in computers and building computers for many, many years myself, right? I built my first computer. And I'm telling you that Windows is a whole different learning curve, okay?
Okay.
So
and if I want to try to start wrapping my brain around computers, what do you suggest I do to start doing that just on the side?
do you still have your $1,000 computer?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to use it as trial and error practice. I could tell you to go to a class, but when you leave the class, you're going to forget it. Every one of us in this chat room learn computers. You may think that you went, oh, I went to IT school. Okay. No, you learn by trial and error. You keep trying and you're not afraid. So get a computer that doesn't have anything important on it, and keep trying stuff. Keep loading stuff, getting stuff off. Contract a virus or two, get it off yourself. Wipe the computer. Do things with it until you get confident, because I'm hearing in your voice a little bit of a confidence issue. Am I correct?
Yeah, with that, yeah.
So just get a computer, try stuff. Just keep trying stuff. Keep it away from your main computer with all your stuff on it. You don't even need to connect it to the internet. Keep trying stuff, doing stuff until you become confident with it. Yeah, I'm gonna crash this computer, but I'm gonna do it anyway. See what happens, learn it. The best way to learn is through repetition and practice, okay?
Okay.
All right, you could go to a computer class, yes, and they could teach you how to use Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, but a lot of us have developed our own computer technique by just doing stuff. No one taught me how to type, but I can type really fast. Understood?
So I'm going to jump in here a second. So, Darlene, what's the trauma that you really have going that's stopping you from enabling yourself here? There's a confidence trauma. There's a severe trauma that I can even hear it in your voice, and a lot of the audience can too.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm really trying to be more human right now.
What dehumanized you?
Well, I just I see so much. I'm a tetrachromat. So I see so many more hues of color and light and beings everywhere all day, and it's just so distracting.
So you're on sensory overload.
Yeah. So
So what's the emotional overload? What has traumatized you to the point where all of the colors are so bright that it's weighing you down?
That I just have no one in my life really except for my clients and no friends, and I
What do you do?
understand why.
What kind of clients do you do? What kind of job do you do?
I'm basically a call girl.
Okay. Not a good position for you, is it?
It actually is. I'll say call girl just to wrap it up.
It's destroying your life. Come on.
No, actually, I really do enjoy it, because it's more of being a sugar baby, but making. That's all I do. I quit my job 5 years ago.
What was your job before?
I was in the trades, construction.
Okay, you were in construction and you quit. So do you like your job now?
Yeah, I do.
It's a lot less stress, correct?
Yeah, and I get to just, I only work a few hours a week, and I had all this time to like go out in nature and just learn from nature and get so spiritual, like, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
You know.
I need to jump in here. It's the nature of your industry that people may not see you as you. What is your name?
Violet.
Violet, people may not see you as you. It's the nature of your industry. Your clients are your friends, but there's a parasitical relationship. When you're making friends with people, okay, when you're making friends with people, it's a give and take situation. All right. So theoretically, they see you as something to take something from. Yes, they're giving you the money in return. So that's a client issue. But with regard to people and so on, not people are going to have judgment for you and all that sort of nonsense. Okay. All right. I don't have judgment for you. I believe people follow their own path. However, I can tell you that a lot of people are judgmental, and a lot of people they're not very understanding. So my suggestion is, who was your last good friend?
That was not a client.
Yeah, pretty much.
She was like an acupuncturist.
And what happened to her?
When I like woke up, everything was like ascended masters were coming and angels, and everything was light and bright, and I made like 90 grand cash in 1 year, like with no effort. Everything was so easy. And then I did this meditation using a Merkaba, and I literally woke up in Technicolor. And then I started and I initiated contact with an alien, and it worked because I've just been in contact with light beings, like in my mind, since I was a child. And after that, I started noticing like the dark side, or like things in the clouds. And I started asking my friend, who was an acupuncturist, and she said I had a few entities on me. She got rid of them, and I had so many questions, and everyone just kept telling me to just focus on the light. And I understand why now, but at the time she didn't like the darkness, and she just kept avoiding me, like.
Okay, Violet. Okay, if the individual kept avoiding you when you were in trouble, then that person was not really your friend. That's the first issue. May I make a few suggestions, please?
Yeah.
Remember the work that you do. The work that you do is fraught sometimes with negativity. You will not always have positive experiences. Can you say to me right now that you've only had positive experiences?
Well, not only, but most of them have been like, multiple year relationships, basically. And it's so strange. Like, the people that are in my life, the clients, are like super duper elite, and like it's very bizarre. It all seems very like set up, but keep
in mind that people who come to this sort of business, they're trying to find some way of releasing negativity or releasing frustration or something along the lines, and you are the receiver of a lot of that stuff. Okay, so I just want to let you know that in your industry, you need to have some sort of spiritual hygiene, some sort of spiritual self-defense or psychic self-defense. That's the first thing. The second thing is that probably you're just not getting out enough and meeting real people. I'm going to guess off the top of my head that some of the problems you might be having is women would be intimidated by you. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've like never had. That's all I want is like girlfriends. And,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. You want girlfriends. Women are probably intimidated by you. Am I correct?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. But you don't know why you don't. Mm-hmm.
I think mostly it's because I can't help myself from like I'm an indigo, and I just can't help myself from like I just don't have time to talk about the weather. I just like to get deep and weird fast, and it freaks people out, I think.
Yes, it will freak people out. It will. So what kind of friends do you want? What would make Violet most happy? Violet is an indigo. That's new. But go ahead.
I just picked that today. What kind of friends would I want? Like people who would just make me feel good after when I leave them. You know?
Okay, so basically, you let me give you the stats right now, Violet. If you want to get deep and weird real fast, I don't like the word weird, but anyway, if you want to get deep or spiritual real fast, you're going to need to speak to spiritual people. Okay. If you are not in the community of people who speak in spiritual terms, then you probably need to find that community, okay? Because regular people who go about their lives from day to day and would rather live without thought, without introspection, they're going to be a little bit turned off by the way you speak, okay? So if you want only just girlfriends, and I can understand why you might want that, you're going to have to find people who are into spirituality. So if you're making money doing what you're doing right now, you might want to plan a trip to a spiritual event, meet people. I understand you have computer challenges, but I'm sure you know how to use that Note 9. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Google the spiritual community in your area. Show up. Be there. Okay. And speak to people. Okay. People will have judgment even in the spiritual community. Okay. I admire your bravery. You just give us your profession online without thinking. I really admire that. That's very good, Violet.
I've never done that. Yeah. But it's what it is, you know.
It's fine. That's fine. I don't have any judgment for you. Andrew doesn't have any judgment for you. Nobody here has judgment for you. You just probably need to find a spiritual community and join that spiritual community. As soon as anyone gives you any kind of judgment, you know that you're speaking to the wrong person. But just find some.
Well, I would never tell. I don't tell anyone. I like live a double life. I don't tell anyone.
That's
what
your
I
trauma.
Do.
That's your trauma now.
It's the only thing. Like I'm such an honest person, and it's so weird living.
It's tearing you apart right now. Leading the double life is what's tearing you apart, not the job itself. It's the double life. From the moment I heard your,
I'm not ashamed of it. Like what I do. Like I really, I'm not. But society is. And
Violet, are you reading the chat right now? Are you reading the Zoom chat right now?
No, I'm not reading any comments or anything. Oh, I see it. I'll start reading now.
You see all these people giving you support, Violet?
Right.
All of these people could be a potential friend of yours.
Okay. So let me help something. Part of you going forward is dealing with the double life. Spiritually. In your own mind, that starts with the part of you who isn't good with the double life. There is a part of you that isn't good. And that's the part that had to give away their power so they didn't stand on their 2 feet to do X, X, or X, which culture wanted you to do. You didn't conform. You went your own way. You are choosing it. You do have good within it, et cetera, et cetera. But it's the nature of the double life, not the job, that is creating so much disharmony in you being you. Because at the job, you're one person, and at home, you're somebody else, like many of the other workers out there. But your job requires to be more you than you are at home right now.
And Violet, everyone in this chat room is sending you good vibes because you're in a place where nobody cares whether you're a call girl or not. I don't care.
Me neither.
I'm good. Violet, you listening to me?
I don't either.
Yeah. What we want is for you to be good in your skin, no matter what job you do, to be confident with who you are. And there are many ways to go ahead and do that. It starts with the daily practice of identifying the parts of yourself that aren't happy each day, and then finding why they're not happy and making a counter argument to be happy. That's a basic daily spiritual practice anyone can do. And let me tell you something. When you look at your arguments for limitations, you oftentimes they're 1 or 2 steps logic, and then they fall apart once you give them a probe. What you may discover is the part of you that's dealing with the double life is the part of you that's afraid everyone will find out. Mom, dad, the neighborhood, Joe up the street, so on and so forth.
Well, I think my parents know. They don't really. I'm from
Not out
Ireland,
front, and it's not talked about at Thanksgiving dinner.
Exactly.
It's not out front, okay?
Right.
It's not. Whether they know or not is irrelevant to you, how you feel right now.
But like, what? I mean, what do you suggest I do? Like, I mean,
Violet.
I'm not going to start telling people what I do.
No, Violet. Listen to me very carefully.
Yeah.
It's none of anybody's business what you do.
Exactly.
The only people that matters, the only people who matter to you are the people who are your friends and close, who are close to you, the people who are your friends. You just came on this chat room and you told us what you do. You have gotten no negativity. I'm not giving you any negativity. I'm not telling you what to do, not looking down on you or anything like that. You have a whole bunch of people in the chat room. One of them says, we can be friends. One of them said to them, and that was a woman. Irene, thank you for that. Okay, so you had a whole bunch of people. The people who matter, the people who are close to you, the people who will be there for you. Okay, that's what really matters. The people who have judgment for you, they don't matter. They really don't. So find yourself people who will love you exactly for who you are, what you do, with no judgment, and live happy and decompress yourself from this situation you're in. You don't have to go around broadcasting what you do to the world, all right? But you can be happy where you are, okay?
You have been happy where you are. You've just reached a point where whatever inner issue is going on with the dual life, it's creating the issue now, which is creating a unhappiness within you. And again, I heard it right in the beginning of the conversation with you, and in your own voice, a definite unconfidence in the emotional states of being that you're in. That's not about the job. That's about the double life itself. So I got a question. How long have you been in this journey?
In like the awakening journey?
No, your job journey.
Oh, well, it started organically like 10 years ago in California, but I went back into it like 5 years ago. Right after I woke up. Okay,
so you went from a waking up period of the greater world back into that industry. That is the nature of your emotional instability. Now you haven't finished your awakening. Like David said, you just need spiritual hygiene and understand how to separate the clients, and you'll be fine. But right now you do got to finish your awakening journey, the greater awareness. You talked about, seeing in multiple colors. Well, guess what? When there's lots of sexual energy around you, that stuff's going to happen over and over and over and over again. That's a byproduct of what you do, is you're going to have spontaneous things that come in. These clients have a tendency to dump things on you, both good, bad, and indifferent. Okay, what I do is very different from what you do, but ultimately the ends are still the similar concepts of clients dumping energy or having to motivate them in a certain situation, because what you do is motivate people in a certain situation to have a release. What's the difference between trauma release? Very little. So much of your issues, you just got to finish your awakening. ayahuasca is not for you. Don't go into that community. What will help you?
I did a lot of LSD when I was a
teenager. None of that's going to help you in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. Transcendental meditation. David's quite familiar with that. David, how could TM help her?
Okay, so TM is a listening. Okay, that's what it is. It's mantra meditation, but it is a listening. You might want to get into that kind of community. The reason why TM might be indicated for what you're experiencing is it because it literally makes you okay with yourself, first of all, and it makes you okay with others. I'm being very simplistic in my explanation of what transcendental meditation does, but it makes you okay with yourself, first of all. And Violet, you probably need to do that. Okay.
It makes me think of Freemasons, though. That's where they hold all of those meetings.
What's that? What are you talking about?
The transcendental meditation, where they're advertised where I live, it's always at the Freemasons lodges.
They're probably just using the building. But a TM center might be indicated for what you're doing because it will help you with the self-realization, first of all. Okay, but Violet, honestly, I don't see anything wrong with you apart from the fact that you are twisted inside yourself. Unravel yourself. Become simple. Okay? You like what you do, it's fine. You don't have friends, that's not so fine. So get friends. It's a very straight road because you ain't a bad person, obviously not. You're not a bad person. Okay? And your job does not make you a bad person. I think probably you may have been around people with judgmental issues. For instance, if I was a Catholic priest, I would have something negative to say to you, but I don't have anything negative to say to you at all. Okay, you're not a bad person. You're not looking to harm anybody, right? You are just isolated, okay? And you have a number of things affecting you right now. Seeing in Technicolor is, as Andrew said, a byproduct of certain things, certain practices. Remember, you're dealing with sexual energy, and sexual energy is a different kind of energy, okay? It can be a lot more problematic than psychic energy, okay?
But I've been seeing this energy since I was a child.
Understood. But I'm sure the dumping of your clients is not going to help. That it's going to exacerbate it quite a bit. So my suggestion to you is that you calm the inside, because what is happening is that you're becoming fragmented and fractured inside. Okay? Yeah. Andrew's double life, you're becoming fragmented. I'm telling you that this is probably not a good path for you to go down. My suggestion to you is that you unravel this knot that you have going on, this double life kind of fragmentation that's going on inside of you. Sit down, close your eyes, calm your mind. Okay? Calm your mind first of all. Okay, that's why we suggested a TM center. All right, I'm going to do something here, which I'm going to have to do here to help you here.
Okay.
If you can find yourself a peaceful place to sit down, I would suggest you close your eyes. I'm going to give you the technique, just any technique, and then you're going to try to get it done, okay?
Okay.
There are two kinds of meditation that will assist you with what you're experiencing, that third eye Technicolor sort of look. The one first is TM, but the second one is a technique known as third eye meditation, okay? So the technique is quite simple. You sit down, take your index finger, press it about half an inch or an inch above your eye, hold it there, look up and look at your finger through, well, with your eyes closed, through your skull. Okay? You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep press down on that spot that's up on your forehead between your eyes, right here.
Yep.
And keep looking at that spot and then release the finger and keep looking up at that spot. You're seeing the colors, aren't you?
Hold on.
You, Violet, stay with me here. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just doing it. No, I don't see any colors right now. I
Press
just see
down on,
black and white.
you see black and white inside there? Andrew,
Yeah.
you see black and white inside there, but you see colors outside. Am I correct?
Yep. This is because
Yeah.
her fractal field of her ever-evolving algorithm has been fractionalized due to the double life. She's literally trying to lead two different sets of producing light, which are conflicting in her right now.
Yeah, you're going to have to do third eye meditation because what you're supposed to be seeing inside, you're seeing it outside, which is not, psychologically speaking, a safe place to be. May I make a suggestion? Please practice that technique. Please practice it.
I will.
Can I ask one probing question? In the last couple of years, have you been with a client that you know was highly psychic?
I think they all are, and I think they're all like spies sent to like do whatever. But
No.
I don't know for real if they were.
That's your paranoia. That's just your paranoia taking in from the fractionalized light you're creating. There was a scenario in which someone who is highly advanced practitioner has dumped their burdens on you of sight. It's very common high-end magical practitioners do that to people like that or like you, because you're an open book to them and they can write anything in the chapter of you. You already had an imprint, and all it is discovering how to let it go, because right now everything is upside down and inside out for you.
Violet, are you there?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Are you calm? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. First thing is first. If you're seeing black and white inside your head, that's a problem. Okay?
Okay.
If you're seeing in Technicolor outside, that is also a problem. So my suggestion to you is that you haven't spent a lot of time inside, and it has gone, for want of a better word, gray. Do you understand what I just said?
Inside meaning indoors or inside?
Inside your own head, inside your own self, your head, your mind, your soul.
I think I've done so much work inside my.
Well, something.
I mean, that's all I do.
Really? Well, something has happened there, because not so many people see black and white inside themselves. Okay, I can promise you that. So what has happened that created this black and white experience?
Well, I thought the government was trying to kill me.
And what did you do?
I felt, that's when I felt fractured, like in 1,000 pieces. So
when was this?
Like 4 years ago.
And what happened?
I went to my psychiatrist, even though I knew she would think I was crazy, and she labeled me schizophrenic and took me off my medication for ADD and wanted me to go into a psych ward and wanted me to start taking lithium and all this other stuff, and I refused it.
What ADD medication were you on?
Adderall.
You were on Adderall?
Yeah, which I'm
totally
addicted to.
So you're ADHD, basically.
ADD, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're on ADD medication. How long have you been on ADD medication?
Like 10 years.
You've been on it for 10 years. Violet, how old are you?
38, and I've tried to get off it, and it's torture. And I would love to, but I've not been able to.
What is your physical health like right now?
Right now it's perfect.
Are you back on Adderall?
Yeah.
Are you taking any other kind of drug?
No, just like caffeine pills, and I just started taking diet pills to like suppress my appetite.
Why is
and
that?
to like the caffeine, I don't know.
And the
I'm
diet
like,
pills?
oh, so I don't have to, so I'm not hungry all the time.
Okay. Are you trying to diet?
I'm trying to like just not want to keep eating like junk food for some reason.
Why is that? That's comfort eating, but why are you comfort eating?
Because I hate where I live, and I got illegally evicted last year, and it effed everything up, and I
Why were
can't
you
get a place.
evicted?
Why?
Because of your profession?
No, I was honestly evicted because I asked for the heat to be turned on, and my landlord just after a year and a half, she gave me a 30-day notice after I called the Board of Health because I didn't know what to do after asking her for the heat to be turned on for like a month and a half. And that's how it all happened. And it just kept going.
Okay. Off the top of my head, Violet.
Yeah.
You need to either drop one or the two. You're doing some things which are contraindicated here. You have done ayahuasca when you were young. Am I correct?
No, I did a lot of LSD.
LSD.
Yeah.
I think we understand now. How much LSD are we talking about?
Hundreds, and I would even drop liquid LSD in my eyes. Like hundreds of times I've tripped probably.
When did your... Okay. Do you know why LSD was called psychedelic back in the day?
No.
Because it made people really party and see colors. Okay? So if you were seeing colors before, that would not have helped. Okay? I'm beginning to understand here. So you've done LSD and liquid LSD in your past. Are you doing any of that now?
No, I'm actually 10 years sober and at the end, vodka was my drug of choice, but no, I haven't done any drugs like that in over 10 years.
How much LSD were you liquid LSD were you dropping into your eyes?
I probably did that like a handful of times. I mean, tripping hard, we would take like ecstasy and then drop LSD in
ecstasy, LSD. And we're talking about lots of it? We're talking about lots, aren't we?
Lots of LSD and yeah, probably. I mean, I'm 38. This was back in high school that I did all of this.
How old were you?
18.
Like 16 to like 18. And then I did cocaine I stopped doing that and did cocaine for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then stopped that maybe like 25.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The drugs from your past are coming back to haunt you. You are going to be susceptible to a lot of things. Okay? That's number one. Okay? There are byproducts to doing drugs, and the methods you were using to get high were not necessarily methods that are advised. Okay? Liquid LSD in the eyes is not a good idea. Okay?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I would say that you probably have fractured your consciousness quite a bit. You are now in a profession where a lot of these drugs are mind altering. And I say mind altering, and I do mean on a permanent basis. Keep in mind that a lot of spiritual groups were using LSD to expand their consciousness way back in the day. Okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of good music came out of LSD, actually. A lot of good music for the rock people in the group. But a lot of people were using LSD to expand their consciousness. They were not doing it as a matter of a step-by-step process. They were just using the drug to expand their consciousness just immediately. Like, so you may have had a situation where your consciousness was, how should I put it? accidentally expanded in a way that may not be advantageous to you. Once again, if you close your eyes and all you see is black and white, that is not normal. May I make a few suggestions? You're 10 years sober. I understand that. Please, I'm going to make a few suggestions to you, Violet. Okay?
Yes, please.
You're comfort eating right now. You might want to stop the comfort eating. Suppressing your appetite is not a good idea. You're comfort eating because you are alone. You probably need a support structure. Anybody who is recovering needs some kind of support structure. So you're going to need friends. You're going to need friends. And having somebody tell you, stop eating junk, is a lot better than taking a pill to suppress your appetite. Do you feel me? Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So yes, you do need a girlfriend and you need a support structure. That's number one. Number two, I would highly suggest that you remove any kind of processed or chemical agent from your diet completely, cold turkey, immediately. And I mean any kind of chemical agent. And I mean the diet suppression pills. I mean even come off coffee and just try to eat as pure as possible for a little while. Because right now you're floating out there, half connected and half in. And I mean your mind, your awareness, your perception. You are halfway, so to speak, in and out. Absolutely. You know that, right? You already know this. That is the fracture that that's the fracture I'm speaking about. Your awareness and your perception. I would suggest you remove all sorts of chemicals from your diet immediately. I mean, anything. I mean, even aspirin. Take all that stuff out. Start replacing it with natural, very grounding foods, usually like complex carbohydrates. Now, that might actually help your profession, so to speak, okay? Because I'm hearing a fatigue in your voice because you're just tired, aren't you? You really are tired of life, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like exhausted. Yeah. Just like daily living. It's exhausting.
Yeah, because there's no joy in your life right now. You need friends. You need to get out. You need to be happy. And I'm telling you, you don't need to go down that road because you're teetering on the edge of a spiraling depression. You are teetering. That's where the energy drain is coming from. The exhaustion. Violet, I want you to listen to me because the road you're going down right now is not a good one. Okay?
Yeah.
You already intrinsically know this, right? You know this.
Yes, I do.
Good. May I make a suggestion to you right now?
Yes.
Okay? Make us a promise that you are going. Do you keep your word, Violet? Do you keep your word?
I try to. Yeah.
Okay, make an extra special effort to try to do this. A, remove the chemicals from your diet. All kinds of chemicals. Every last one. Anything with a chemical base, remove it. Anything that is man-made, made in China, whatever, take everything out of your diet. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is find yourself a community that will accept you, a spiritual community. People that will hold your hands, not because they have some agenda in mind, like getting in your pants or anything like that. People that will hold your hand just to let you know that it's okay and it's fine, that you're okay. Everything will be okay. You need to find these kinds of people. The chemicals are not helping you. So that's the first thing, remove them. Second thing, get on that Samsung Note 9, that expensive, wonderful phone. I have my notes, but it's an older version I'm using in Colorado right now. Right, get on your Note 9 and Google the spiritual community around you. Get up, go there. No matter how tired and exhausted you feel, get up, go there, sit down and speak to people. Okay, somebody out there will reach out to you. You're right, it is probably safer for you because I'm guessing if you're in that industry, you probably look pretty. You probably look very pretty. Am I correct?
Yes.
Good. And you need to find, probably the better idea would be probably a girlfriend, because you need to have people look at you as Violet as opposed to, something I want to be with.
Yeah.
Understood? Get up, go do that thing. Okay, but get the chemicals out of your diet. get natural food into your diet, you will feel 1,000 times better than you do now. I'm also sensing that you're the kind of person that doesn't drink water very much, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Let me give you a few tips here because you're in a spiraling depression. I can hear it now. You called about a computer problem, but there was a lot more underneath there. First thing is first. You're dehydrated. Drink water. Second thing is second. Remove the chemicals. Wash everything out of you completely. Because yes, you're 10 years sober, but your body is refracting chemicals in a different way. It is taking the artificial stuff and using it. If you're drinking a lot of coffee, that's the body's new stimulus. You need to wean yourself off of that. You might be 10 years sober from drugs, but not yet 10 years sober from chemicals. There is not too much difference between the two, by the way. Okay? Yeah. We had a lady call us last show, and she was a coffee fiend. And I hope she's listening. So may I make a suggestion to you? Please listen to me. Please. Okay?
Yes.
Because you sound like someone who's actually valuable. Okay? And we value people here. So could you please get the chemicals out of your system? Wash them out. I have a glass of water on my desk right now, you need to drink probably 10 of these a day. Please.
Okay.
Wash them out. It's going to make you pee a lot, but do it anyway. Okay? Find yourself a community and find people that you can talk to generally. You're speaking to me right now. I have no judgment for you. If I met you on the street and you told me all of this, I still would not have any judgment for you. Not everybody you meet is going to be an ass. Okay? A lot of the people that you meet are going to be asses. For sure they are going to be. But not everybody you meet is going to be an ass. And if you want to narrow down the asses from the non-asses, find yourself in a spiritual community where people have a dedication to be open-minded and accepting. You feeling me? Are you understanding me?
You. I am, and yes.
Violet, I'm not going to let you go like that. Violet, info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. I want feedback, please.
Yes. Consider coming doing some immersion therapy with us, where you can get 5 hours of consecutive back healing each day. I think that would be tremendous at just giving you clarity at choices.
Absolutely. I want feedback. I'm coming to Barbados. I'm going to do it. Your thing also. I was on your website last night looking at it.
Oh, that's cool. Violet, I want feedback. So info@Unified Health Systems. You don't need to put an attachment there, so you won't need a computer, right? I just want you to tell me. I just want you to tell me how you're coming along. Okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Violet. You're very well.
Thank you so much, Violet, and sending you lots of loves and hugs. So you may have a beautiful day and get out there and meet some people and make some friends.
Okay.
I will. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Bye.
David, beautiful show today. We went from business to tech support to spiritual tech support to good old counseling down to the wire. Wow. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for everyone. We will be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time for continuing shows. Thanks a lot, David.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.